What if the most powerful soil ingredient on Earth costs almost nothing, and you already walk past it every single day?
Welcome back to Grow Your Own Vegetables, where a community of trusted teaching partners helps you grow real food in any space in every season. Every year, gardeners spend hundreds of dollars on soil amendments that wash away and need replacing every single season. But David Wolfe, superfood pioneer with over 25 years of farming experience, has discovered that charcoal added to your soil persists and keeps improving it for potentially thousands of years from just one application. He is also about to reveal how to forage extraordinary free fertilizer from beaches, riverbanks, and quarries that outperforms everything you can buy.
One of the main things that I use in farming, it's the bottom layer. It's the bottom. If I dig a hole, put a tree in, it's the bottom thing. If I put a raised bed garden in, it's the bottom thing. If I just put a garden in, I'm going to take that topsoil off, put this at the bottom, put the soil back on, and that is charcoal.
For more information, free resources, and gentle guidance, you can find us at growyourownvegetables.org. And to grow alongside other gardeners just like you, join our free community at gyov.org. Settle in. You're going to enjoy this.
100%. Nothing else in it. Now I take it out in the garden and eventually it goes into the earth. But I've done experiments where I'm like, it's going so good in the charcoal, I'll just do it 100% charcoal. And it works. You can grow many, many garden vegetables and at least start them in charcoal only. Because of it, that's the basis of all great soil is charcoal. That's why we have fires on Earth. That's why it resets the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's amazing. And tell us a little bit about that. So a lot of people might have heard the term biochar and then the words charcoal. And so are you actually using and some people will say absolutely do not use charcoal. Are you saying here charcoal? Okay.
100%. Yeah, I use charcoal. There's nothing like charcoal for farming. It's the most amazing discovery of my life, I think, for sure. I mean, right now at my house, where I'm just farming half acre, I'm having 1,500 pounds of charcoal delivered from Biochar Now. Actually, they're in Colorado. Great company. I recommend them, biocharnow.com. I get big totes, big pallets of charcoal delivered. And the thing about that is that because that's a relatively new site for me and I'm farming in areas that have never had charcoal yet, that the charcoal persists. It's not like every year you need to get more charcoal in. No, it's not like that at all. It's like it persists in the soil there for not only decades, hundreds of years. And really the research now shows thousands of years. And so the soil, you're improving the soil. When you get enough charcoal in that soil, you're improving the soil for thousands of years. And that's the great discovery of biochar. Now, do I take like the little encapsulated, like I have my own, where's my charcoal at? I take edible charcoal. How do I do that? Jeez. It's somewhere under. I had it this morning. Maybe in here. No. Anyway, it'll suddenly show up. But, there it is. Hold on 1 second. Let me get it. Okay. So do I take like my charcoal like this, which is like an edible charcoal, which is an activated charcoal? Do I take that and use that in the soil? No, because it's too small granulated. I want the right size granulation so that it's like a vermiculite. It pushes everything open. So it allows oxygen to penetrate in on those roots.
That's awesome. It's almost like I've heard people talk about it as like a coral reef for all of the little critters and microorganisms to play and collect in there.
Well said.
Yeah, I can't claim that one, but I dig the reference. So you're a busy guy. You've been talking about a couple different farms, different projects. We'll talk about your tree project a little bit later because I want to ask you some questions and how people can get involved in that. You're a busy guy, and so you still find at least a little time to get outside. So, what would you think is possible for somebody with a busy schedule in terms of gardening?
Okay, great. Now you can see that I'm not like my arms, right? I'm not I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a guy who carries sacks of soil and plants. And so that's my workout actually. And so, look, I'm not going to get like the muscle tone of, doing 50 reps of curls or something like that. So you're going to have to swap something out, which means that, hey, your hour workout at the gym, hey, swap that out with your 2 hours in the garden. And there's things that will happen in the garden, like squatting completely down. That's really important for you. Lifting sacks of soil and carrying them across, or lifting trees and putting them in the ground, or whatever. It's a different kind of workout. It's a more natural kind of workout. Now, one of the things I like to say is I like gyms and I love yoga classes whenever I can get to them. And recently there hasn't been much opportunity for that, but I still squeeze them in whenever I can. But that only prepares you for nature. That only prepares you for nature. So it's not the other way around. So what we're really doing with the gym is preparing ourselves for our interactions with the earth, including gardening, including planting trees, including digging holes. Digging holes on my farms has always been the thing. Like, I will always rouse my guys up and be like, okay, dude, we're digging 15 holes today. And everybody hates the whole digging day because in certain ecosystems, in Hawaii, for example, it's a little rough because you're digging into clay and rocks and it's just rough to get an actual hole dug. But that's such an important workout. That's the workout.
That's amazing. And while we're there, let's talk trees a little bit, because that is your sweet spot. And I think a lot of people in the Superfood Garden Summit, they have a little bit of experience with growing vegetables and herbs and those sorts of things, but they have less experience with trees. So can you give us a couple of hints for what makes a successful tree planting?
This is such a great question. One of the most important things about a successful tree is making the hole big enough. And then making sure you've kind of fortified it with enough nutrients and fertilizers that are appropriate. For example, I'm in the superfood world, so I would take all my old superfoods, things that have expired, stuff that got stuck in the back of the cupboard. I'm like, suddenly this spirulina is 3 years old, it's gone. And that goes into that mix. That's the fertilizer for that soil, for that tree. So I don't dig a hole that's just the size. Let's say I grew a tree in a pot and it's just a certain size. Let's say it's a, 1 gallon pot. I'm going to dig a hole that's probably going to be 4 gallons in size, or more, maybe 5 gallons. I put charcoal at the bottom of that always, because that's the negative ballast. That's the negative charge you want. You want the negative charge at the bottom. So the earth's negatively charged, the charcoal is extremely negatively charged. That's the pop that creates the growth. And then I'll put all kinds of great soils in there, and I'll go around, as you get a sense for building soils, like I'll go around my property and be like, oh, there's really good soil right there that got washed down by the rain and it's really finely granulated. It's really perfect for what I want. So I'll get that. Then I'll throw that in the mix. Then I'll be walking around. I'll be at the beach or something, and I'll be like, oh, there's a really interesting soil that's developed right at the edge of the beach. It's got a little bit of beach sand in it, but it's got other things in it. And I'll throw that into a bucket and bring that home. And I'm on the beach and walking, and suddenly there's like, shells of crabs and stuff. And I'll be like, I want that for my farm for sure. Crab shells, any kind of shells of lobsters, crabs, that kind of stuff is amazing for gardening. I'll get that and I'll take that back with me. I'll take pieces of coral back. And when you put that all together, you start to build a soil up. And then I build that soil, including all of my composted soil from my decayed food scraps. And I mix that all together. And then when I get to the tree, so I got the 1 gallon tree, I've got a 4 gallon hole. And suddenly I got 4 gallons worth of soil. So I can pop that in there, and then I can mound it up too. So it's not just that the soil that, I'm not just putting it into the earth. I'm kind of mounding it up so that the richness attracts what is really the best fertilizer, which is the crustaceans in the soil, the roly-polies, and all the other little insects that come along, the ants and things, that will spread around those nutrients, the earthworms that come to spread around those nutrients and really make the whole thing pop. So that's the idea of planting a healthy tree.
Amazing. And what I love about what you just shared is a lot of people, when they get started gardening, the first thing they do is they go to a store to find out, like, where can I get a bag of soil? Where can I get a bag of compost? And not all of us have access to everything that you just said. However, we have access to a lot more than we realize if we kind of walk around the neighborhood and see what's available. And I love that you said what's available, put it in the hole, and even your cabinet, the things that may have gone bad. I love the idea of putting in your spirulina that's, a little bit too old, right? So that's resourcefulness to me. And can we talk about that for a minute? Because that to me feels like the heart of gardening is this feeling of being resourceful and this feeling of giving back. Can you talk a little bit more about your philosophy of gardening around that?
One of the things that I like to do is whenever I get to my mom's house, I she doesn't have a sense of like, hey, when you cut all these branches off these trees and you trim everything and then you take that material and you ship it off somewhere else, you're removing nutrients from the soil that are not replaced. And so I have to go in there and I have to be resourceful, and I have to kind of look around and be like, okay, she's got all these old supplements in her little supplement cabinet. They're in the back, and I know they've been there for years. So I will literally pull those out, multivitamins, for example, and I'll go around and I'll impregnate them into the soil all over the whole yard, every tree, everything. I'll go out there and I'll put 1,000 supplements, like little, capsules, and things she got at Costco that she's never going to eat. It's, it's going to be there forever. And then that's what I use there as a fertilizer. That's an amazing fertilizer, by the way. Just multivitamins, like the old hard multivitamins, great fertilizer. And so we have to understand that trees are really resourceful themselves. And if you give them an inch, they're going to take it a mile. They can take little amounts and take it far. And another thing that I like to do is just when I'm driving around, like in my truck right now, I've got buckets and I've got a shovel. And if I'm driving around and I look over and I'm like, oh, that's silt over there from that river, that looks like really good stuff.
Welcome back to Grow Your Own Vegetables, where a community of trusted teaching partners helps you grow real food in any space, in every season.